Big news from Eritrea. It seems a global superpower is changing its foreign policy about Eritrea. Is that a diplomatic win for Eritrea? Welcome to my views and news. Thanks for watching the channel. Good to be with you. Just one topic in this video. I wanted to speak in detail on this topic. That's why no other news story included in this video. Eratians are celebrating their Independence Day today. Ceremonies ongoing in Eritrea abroad for almost a week. It seems that a superpower has changed its foreign policy towards Eritrea. A statement came a few hours ago which shows a diplomatic win for Isaias Afwerki's government. I am talking about US Eritrea relations. Uh, US Eritrea relations remain tense in the last 2 decades or so. US imposed sanctions on Eritrea. Eritrea accused US of backing EPRDF, TPLF, and trying to work against Eratian interests and trying to corner Eratia. EU countries towed US line. They also imposed sanctions on Eritrea. Eritrea was cut off from SWIFT, international banking system. Sanctions were lifted largely after Eritrea, Ethiopia made peace. Sanctions were again imposed, targeted sanctions on Eritrean military officials, especially during the 2 year long Ethiopia, uh, 2 year long war in northern Ethiopia, in which Eritrean and Ethiopian forces jointly invaded Tigray region of Ethiopia. So relations between Eritrea and US were basically a manifestation of non-engagement. They never engaged for any strategic alliance. Eritrea banned USAID from operating on its soil. Eritrea always voted in support of Russia and China against the US. US backed UN Human Rights Council appointed a special rapporteur on Eritrea to investigate the human rights abuses in Eritrea. Eritrea never accepted that decision. So I'm just mentioning a few facts showing what was the nature of the relations between Eritrea and US in the last 2 decades or so. Uh, and whenever Eratian celebrated independence, by the way, Eritrea does have an embassy in the US, and US has an embassy in Asmara. Diplomatic contact is there, but the two have not been part of the same camp on international issues. Whenever US congratulated Eratians on Independence Day in the past, it would issue a statement by the US State Department. The statement would mention only Eratians, like US supports Eratians, US congratulates Eratians on this day. US is looking forward to work with Eratians. Eratian government was not mentioned in the past statements. Never in the past did the US say that it wants to work and strengthen relations with the Eratian government. No. It always said in statements in the past that it wanted to work with the Eratian people. But in the last 2 to 3 years, we saw that US foreign policy experts, US diplomats in Asmara, they realized that non-engagement with Eritrea is not a solution. Why? Because Eritrea is a key player in the Horn of Africa. It's a small country, but it has its tentacles spread across the Horn of Africa. It involves itself in armed conflicts in the region. It trains fighters, it supports groups in the region. You see, it is involved in Sudan. I did several videos on that. Don't want to go into detail. It remained involved in the Ethiopian civil war. It is training Somalia's forces. So you cannot keep Eritrea out of the Horn of Africa. That is why some outgoing US ambassadors over a year ago called for policy of engagement with the Eritrean government. US in the past has been backing Eratian opposition groups based in the US, but those opposition groups had no meaningful presence in Eritrea. Still, they don't have any meaningful presence in Eritrea, but they are being funded by the US State Department. This government of Donald Trump, the new US president, is changing foreign policy. It has changed foreign policy towards Eritrea too, because a few hours ago, US State Department issued a statement. The statement is a different one. It's not like the statements issued in the past. In the past, I said engagement with Eritrean government was never mentioned in the statement, but the statement by the US State Department issued a few hours ago says that Eritrea, that the US congratulates Eritrean people on their Independence Day, and the US is looking forward to strengthening partnership with the people and the government of the state of Eritrea in the years ahead. So US wants to form and strengthen a partnership with the Eritrean government. US foreign policy towards Eritrea has changed. Yes, Trump is focused on the Middle East. He wants to collect as much money as he can for his country. He's less focused on Africa, but Marco Rubio is leading US State Department. Marco Rubio, appointed by obviously Trump government. It means that Marco Rubio's statement, US State Department statement, is indicative of US foreign policy towards Eritrea. Soon we could see engagement between Eritrea and the US on official level. And Eritrean government welcomed when Donald Trump was elected as the president of the US. It called for coordination in a statement. So US seems to be reciprocating, though so far we are not seeing any official start of engagement. Eritrea did contact some lobbyists too in the US to improve its relations with the US. A key US ally in the region, TPLF, is also on Eritrean side now. TPLF improving ties with Eritrea, TPLF repairing its fractured ties with Eritrea. TPLF has long been in good relations with the US government. TPLF, Eritrea, US. Now, this sort of engagement makes sense. Is it a diplomatic win for Isaias Afwerki's government? Yes, it's a diplomatic win, but I think it is basically an admission of the failure of US foreign policy towards Eritrea. US has realized that isolation of Eritrea is not possible. It's better to engage Eritrea. Now, Eritrea will have to balance its relations with China, Russia on the one hand, America West on the other. But will it openly join the US Western camp, or will it continue working as a close ally of the Russian and Chinese camp? The president of Eritrea has been calling for the establishment of new world order. He has been urging Putin and Xi Jinping to work for the establishment of an alternative new world order to challenge the American and Western world order. But things seem to be changing now. Thanks for watching.